has been supported a lot by what I did in management science. I was in management science, I did management science option and specialized in project management. And I also did my master's, and I want to thank the Faculty of Management Science. I was a scholarship student, and I did my MBA and a scholarship, and I specialized in management information systems. And what I learned then has helped me in many initiatives that I've undertaken, besides just being from Deloitte and the Strategy and Operations Department. I've also been running development projects, and I have been involved in developing an application for cooperatives, for use by cooperatives. That was actually my MBA project, and I've gone along and developed an application. So taking our technology, which is with the few computers that we had here. Kamau told you we used to go to main campus to see the mainframe, and of course you wouldn't access it. We had very few computers then. I hope we have many computers now. So even those who are interested in programming and progressing it more can have access to computers. But luckily, to development nowadays, we have computers available and at a very affordable rate. I'm glad even Microsoft has gone the extra mile to promote technology, that his office applications actually have modules for students so that it's affordable. So I can tell you that many things have changed, and we are glad to see. I'm glad to see the place looking all nice and flashy. So anyway, without any further ado, we've been invited here as Deloitte. As I say, from Deloitte, Deloitte is known mostly for being an auditing company. So most of the people will tell you Deloitte auditing, but I know you know more because Deloitte has other departments besides auditing. We have the tax department, we have consulting department, and under the consulting department, we have the strategy and operations, we have human capital, and we have technology advisory services. So in terms of strategy and operations, we do strategy development, we undertake benchmarking surveys, and then we do what is hardcore operations, that is process reviews, and we also do a lot of work in program leadership. And in program leadership, I can tell you that the operations management that you do here, and that's what has taken somebody like Kamau to greater heights, because of the operations. When you do development work, your work is not so structured, because a project is wrapped with a piece of it's an organization just written on paper, and you need to operationalize it. So those people who have done management science are very useful when it comes to program leadership. Within Deloitte, I managed a World Bank project for the last 7 years in agriculture. Hello, okay, much better. So I was saying, within Deloitte, program leadership, the kind of experience that Kamau has maximized on, is very key. And I was saying that myself, I have been involved in management of a World Bank project, 7 years, and my operations experience was very useful. In that, you're able to be able to see everything from one perspective and operationalize the expected output. So, for you who have taken operations management, you will know that every organization appreciates efficiency and effectiveness. Everybody is operating in a very competitive world. Internally, the organization has its own vision of where it needs to be. So they need to find an optimal operating level so that what they intend to do and what is out there is actually put at par at a maximum level. So many organizations like to compare themselves in where they are operating so that they know, benchmark. If, for example, take the case of Equity Bank or any bank for that matter, they have their own operations costs which they would like to keep on top. So you, as people who are going to the job market, few organizations have actually that portfolio called the COO, the operations manager, because most of the time we tend to be lost within the finance department, procurement. Hardcore operations is really a position that is defined. And so many of us, unfortunately, when we go to the job market, tend to get lost. We do probably accounting because that's what everybody knows about. And I'd encourage you to really bring out what you learn in operations so that you're able to maximize and give value to your organization. Go proudly and aggressively saying, I am an operations management graduate and I'd like to be employed in your operations department to add value so that you can find your space and we can make operations be what it needs to be. You know this, and Mwalimu taught me TQM, and I'd like to thank her very much. I think for me, what I remember most about the TQM class from Mrs. Kiruthu, it was get it right first time and always. Get it right first time and always. That, I think, is an excellent motto, and it's an excellent motto for our operations management expert. Get it right first time and always, because we've said we are operating in a very, very competitive environment and very unstable for that matter. There's so many forces affecting us as organizations, and also we need to know what our strengths are and maximize so that we can be the best. And I guess every organization wants to be seen as the best. So operations departments across organizations, of course, always want to be efficient, maximize on the few resources, and effective in meeting the requirements. Not just efficient, but effective in delivering what it is you meant to deliver. So as I was saying, I guess during the time when we were distributing and we had a very noisy mic, operations departments, for us in Deloitte, the kind of work we do within the strategy and operations department, just to let you know, that is that we will be approached by an organization, probably the operations director or operations manager. Because of the pressure he has, he will want us to look at his processes. He needs to make sure he has an excellent turnaround time, that he has delivered quality, and that the cost of the process is manageable. So when we go in as Deloitte, what we usually do is that we have various tools. So we will use an industry print. We will review the organization. Like I give an example, like go take a case of a bank. The bank is in the business of mobilizing money and in the business of selling money. So what they want to know is that when I am operating as a bank, am I top of the range? What can I do better? And we will go to look at how they even do the work that they do, what policies and procedures they use, what structure to support the processes because you as an operations manager, you must make sure that there is no overload in the processes, that people are able to deliver. Because if you give people 50 activities and you do not give, and 50 activities within a very short span of time, and obviously what it takes for each activity, probably you've given them 50 activities to do in 24 hours or 12 hours or 8 hours a work day, and that activity each is 50, but the actual time 50, and each activity takes like 20 minutes to do. Maybe the 8 hours, maybe, or 6, a shorter time, the 8 hours maybe of what you've allocated is not sufficient. So we need to look at all that in a holistic way. So for us, in terms of operations management within an organization, if I look internally, we have tools that help us to work. And we were told in operations management, even Deloitte as a company, we have to make sure that all our operations are optimal. We have to respond to queries within the shortest time possible and still be able to deliver within quality of what you are expecting. So your project management expertise becomes very, very critical. We were told that a project manager must be an excellent planner, or for that matter, any operations that you lead, you must be an excellent planner. You must be able to execute in a very orderly fashion. You must be able to plan for quality assurance, not just managing at the end of the line. You have to make sure that the quality is assured, as opposed to that you're just waiting for the end of the line for you to check the quality checks, because you needed to have planned that everything will go according to plan, and then that way our motto of getting it right first time and is always achieved. So within Deloitte itself, the main, we said operations management is about the inputs and the outputs. Our inputs are people. So for us, the departments within Deloitte, for example, is only, there are 3 support departments. Human capital, who take care of ensuring we have the correct raw material in people to be able to deliver what we need to deliver to our clients. So that's our major input, people. And our human capital department is well staffed, and I'm sure you know that they really do a lot of promotion and marketing, because our people is what drives what we are able to do. I'm sure a couple of weeks we had a campus day. I don't know if University of Nairobi was represented. I don't know if this campus was there, but Deloitte hosted like a campus day so that we can recruit and interest the best and the brightest to come and work for Deloitte, because our people are the greatest raw material input that helps us deliver anything that we do. We do not have machines. We are not like a manufacturing company where we get the latest technology in manufacturing what it is we manufacture. It is just about the people. So the people have to be right all the time, and we always target to attract and keep the best and the brightest for our delivery. Then once we get our raw material in people, the next is now the kind of jobs that I was referring to. We have now a process review. How do we get the people how do we interlink with all the queries for various assignments that need to be done? How do we interlink with delivery, execution of all that needs to be done? How do we close out? How do we make sure we deliver quality? How do we collect feedback? So we have processes and systems to help us in our operations management. We do not have necessarily an operations manager, but what we have is we have service lines with experts who manage the operations of our kind of a company. So ours is it's not like a manufacturing company where you say it's Coca-Cola that they will deliver the raw materials. You have to ensure that the supply chain is very efficient, that the raw materials are delivered on schedule, it's the right quality, in the right place, the right time. For us, it's the right people, at the right time to deliver on what we have to deliver on time. So what happens in Deloitte is that when we get even the youngsters to come and work, obviously it is a huge learning. If I'm sitting and I want to review the processes of, say, Coca-Cola, I really it may take me a long time to sit and study Coca-Cola and know how Coca-Cola operates. So what we have, the other inputs in our process for delivering consultancy is tools and methodologies that help us to deliver on on time, quality, and add value. So we have various tools that we use to help us in that whole operations process. And your manager or my manager will guide on what we use for us to deliver on an efficient process. So I think for me, that's all I would have shared in terms of OMSA, and to encourage OMSA. It's a good initiative, and you've done well. Congratulations, OMSA, for organizing such an event. And to encourage you that as you go out to the job market, promote and market your operations management expertise. It is very useful to any organization, and we get lost. Except for supply chain management, that is usually a very clear career path, and operations management is being largely used by in the development world because of the kind of exposure. Okay, I've been requested to mention some of the tools that we use. They are actually mostly proprietary tools for us. Like we have, I talked about us, for example, being engaged to undertake an activity for a bank for process review. What do we have? In class, we are taught about process flows, right? So we have a tool that is able to map, benchmark the best practices or processes for a manufacturing company or for a bank for that matter. What systems should the bank have in place for them to ensure that they fast? Like a bank, the greatest problem they have is risk. The risk of I might lend to the wrong person. We said the banks are in the process of selling money, isn't it? So what tools does the bank need for them to be able to make what processes, steps? And you as an operations manager, you're tasked with the role of ensuring that everything, I said we need to make sure everything is delivered in the right time, the right cost, and right quality, right? So for us, the tools we use are proprietary. We have industry print, that is a Deloitte time-tested business process modeling. So we model processes, the tool and collection of cross-functional business processes, and we design them. So it captures Deloitte's best knowledge of business, of processes that are ideal for an organization, which you as an operations manager are supposed to ensure that are to the right point. We also have a value map. When I want, for example, and I don't know if some of these tools we probably didn't use them when we were here, because they are so industry-like. I mean, I wouldn't say they are industry-like, but we have a value map. This is a tool. If I would enlarge this, I can enlarge this. It's a tool that we use, and we use to help an organization plan. We said planning strategy. Every organization, we start from the strategy. What is our strategy? What do we do when we have to strategize as an organization? The first thing we need to do is to scan our environment. We are always taught that, isn't it? And we do that actually when I go to do a strategy for any organization. I have to scan the environment and understand, where am I operating as an organization? What is out there? Who is competing? What do they have that I don't have? What is it that I'm taking to the market? Is it something desirable to the market? So once the strategy is done, I also, before I finalize the strategy, I also look at myself internally as an organization. What strengths do we have? I said, like Deloitte, we are among the big four, so we compete a lot with PwC. I can tell you what happens is that at my level, for example, I would be a resource because I've been in there at Deloitte for 7 years. So in terms of industry understanding, I have a very, very good understanding of like agriculture sector because I've worked there for a very long time. So they have to make sure that if PwC were to come here, they would actually, or I meet a PwC person, it's very easy to be poached and we keep moving because we are what? The greatest input for that organization. In terms of like business improvement, what do we do mostly? As an operations manager, you're supposed to benchmark. I got a call recently from somebody from Cooperative Bank, and what they wanted to find out is, Deloitte, do you do benchmarking? What would benchmarking entail? Actually, they wanted finance benchmarking. They wanted us to find out whether conduct a survey where we check whether other banks, what are the cost structures for other banks? Are they competitive enough? Do they spend too much, for example, on the halls that they use, for example? Do they spend too much on the staff? Are they overpaying industry-wide? Are they overpaying their people? Or have they attracted, are they at the optimal level? As an operations manager, we said your key point is always making sure that you're operating at an optimal level. There is another area, maybe I'd just like to mention that has come to my mind, that we are not doing very well, and I'm sure operations people here, you should be able to help us, because your business understanding, let me tell you, I said my greatest advantage of doing management science helped me understand the entire a holistic understanding of the organization. And as we worked on the project with the cooperatives, it really helped me. When I walk into the finance department, I can associate with them, and I can also be able to understand a little because of the business background that I have. Even though my systems analysis and understanding of the systems comes into play, I have a good background for that. Now, one thing that's bothering the industry is analytics, which is something done by management science, but is not coming out very well. We look like, for example, I worked a lot in the agriculture sector. We worked with Coffee Board of Kenya. It's very difficult, and that's the biggest problem for most of the development partners, for them to understand or establish the status of how the cooperatives perform, for example. Cooperatives are the great farmer groups, and they control a lot of the industry, but there is little information. The information is not collated, and therefore you're not able to see the bird's eye view that you need to see as an operations expert to make a decision on this is inefficient, this is not good, this is what needs to be done to improve this. So analytics is big. Deloitte does analytics, but the Kenyan practice, we don't have it much. But as you know, Deloitte is an international company, so we have South Africa that do a lot of data analytics, which is very helpful. And it's something that somebody should take interest, because we are struggling to have collated data. If you know about the auction system, for example, there is so much, the information that goes into the auction system is a lot. The data, let me call it data, because it is not, until it is analyzed to become information, it's still raw data. So we have data of names of organizations and what they've delivered, but we can't tell where is the greatest production that has happened. Where is what are the farmers? What is the price? What is the distribution? Because every decision that needs to be done is actually done based on information that comes from data. So anybody who's interested in analytics, you can promote that, like, because it's a very, very, very important aspect of management science that's not being followed at the moment. So yeah, that I can say is a big gap. Even when you go into industries, and yeah, for us it's good as consultants because it gives us work. But of course, when we have the people in the organizations to be able to do such analytics, and I realize there's a lot of need for passion in what it is you get to do. If you're an operations management diehard, I encourage you to promote operations management. And even when you go to your first interview, be sure to mention what you can do as an operations specialist. Even if it is about, mostly we will go probably for accounting jobs, but be sure to mention that, yeah, in terms of operations, I can do this and that. And that would be very good for us to continue promoting operations management as a profession. Thank you very much, and it was nice talking to you.